Sometimes we take ourselves and our music too darn seriously. Of course, there are appropriate times for thoughtful contemplation, but there's no harm in basking in the enjoyment that comes with creating or consuming art with wild abandon, and maybe being a little bit silly at the same time. It helps keep us sane and provides us with a youthful perspective of the mean old world in which we live. We Are Scientists have always imbued some humor into their catalog of music. And what a catalog it is. With 7 albums recorded over a 20-year span, Keith Murray and Chris Cain have consistently built a backlog of music that is fun, but also carefully crafted and with as many catchy earworms as are legally permitted. They both join me on this episode to discuss their latest release titled Huffy, which is a straight-ahead rock production featuring a number of songs that will be reverberating through your head during your next sleepless night. We also talk about the unique design of the physical vinyl product. If you love stickers and customizing things with your own unique imprint, then you'll want to hear what the band has in store for record collectors on this release. Join Keith, Chris, and myself as we explore the addictive hooks and production inherent in Huffy and how they've managed to cultivate their friendship after 2 decades in show business. There's a lot of substance to this chat, but none of us could resist the urge to engage in plenty of silliness. Lighten up. Let's have a few laughs. Thanks for joining me today, fellas. We're here with We Are Scientists, and you guys have a new album out. It's your 7th release, and it is called Huffy, and I have it right here. And I have to tell you, the first thing that I think of when I heard the title of the album was my first bicycle was a Huffy.
Yeah.
You guys remember
Sure.
Huffy?
Sure.
I actually currently own a Huffy, not through any design or promotional interaction, but I
Right.
do happen to own a Huffy beach cruiser.
I loved my Huffy, and I just this brought back that warm, fuzzy Huffy feeling.
Yeah, we were, although that wasn't explicitly the reference we wanted everyone to get, we were pretty comfortable with it being out there. And yeah, we're big Huffy guys.
I especially like that normally when you say, I've got a Huffy feeling, you mean the opposite of warm and fuzzy. So I like that we live in a world where a person can
There's a
coherently
counterbalance.
say, I've got a warm, fuzzy Huffy feeling.
Yeah.
Why are you being so Huffy in this interview, Keith?
Sorry, that's just my nature. You're the Huffy bicycle guy. I'm the Huffy temperament.
Stop being so Huffy. You're right. Yeah, don't be so Huffy. Well, listen, this is a great album, and you've got some just really I don't even know where to begin. You've got some really well crafted songs here, and it's, to me, it feels so. And I use this word with peace and love, as Ringo says, just in the best way possible. It's really brilliant pop music. I don't know how you think about that, but you have such a knack for writing these clever, catchy tunes with a very dynamic production. Does using that word pop bother you guys?
We prefer experimental jazz.
Okay. Why are you getting so Huffy, Chris?
Well, it's really funny when you were trying to prepare us for, the potential insult. I thought you were going to say, take this the right way, but it's really good, dumb pop.
Oh.
But instead you said it's really brilliant pop, but I think we mean the same thing when we say that.
Well, it could be. Well, I think pop gets really a bad name. People don't like that moniker, and I really love good pop. There's good. It's like all music. There's good jazz and there's lousy jazz, and there's good pop and there's bad pop. But I think there's something about pop music that's a little underrated almost in today's day and age, where the melody works with the production, and it's just something you want to hear over and over and over. And back to your record, side B for me. I mean, I love the whole record, but side B is like, I'm listening, I'm walking around, I'm like, this is phenomenal. This is like having a radio station on playing different songs or something. You know what I mean? So, to just talk a little bit about your influences, or kind of how you craft your sound, or how you put it together.
That is a good question. I don't even really remember who we were thinking our influences were while we were making this. We were sort of cloistered the entire time. We sort of started recording right as quarantine shut everything down.
Right.
So it was just essentially the two of us as each other's pod in a studio for much longer than we had anticipated because we couldn't do anything else. So I think our influences were essentially just being trapped in a room together, trying to entertain one another. I don't really remember who I think we kept citing Robin a little bit, even though I don't think that shows up on Huffy very
Not
much.
so much on Huffy, yeah.
Yeah.
We actually we did Huffy as a it was part of a longer process that ultimately the results of which we separated. And so Huffy is kind of the pop rock songs, I guess, that emerged from essentially a year and a half of writing and recording.
Right.
And I think that it sort of bleeds. You can see with some of the songs, it starts to bleed into a less, distorted guitar vibe, but that's really where the heart of this record is. And then the other material is kind of forthcoming and is a little more electronic and maybe more Robin-y, but
there's a little bit of Robin in everything.
That's in this day and age. That's
you have to know how to look for it, but yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, this is like I said, this interview is on the radio and it's an audio thing, but it's also going to be video. We'll share some of these video clips around so people can see how cool we look, but also we need to describe what's going on for the people that are listening just through audio. You've got a really interesting release here as far as the physical product. It's for those of you that can't see what we're looking at, it sort of looks like half of Pink Floyd's The Wall, and then the top part is sort of a water-stained sheetrock or something, and it's sort of like a bathroom. I guess it's a bathroom wall. Am I?
That's a reasonable way to describe it.
Our idea was that it was the bathroom wall of like a once fancy beach resort that has slightly gone to seed.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it's nice tile work there done. Yeah. And it's hard to find good tile work nowadays, but this looks good. And so the concept here is people just don't do grout the way they used to do grout. The concept is you've given some stickers here, and you're to take the stickers. And by the way, you can see it's a beautiful yellow. I don't know. Do you guys have a fun name? Sometimes people name these colors like super neon yellow. No, it's just limited edition yellow. But you've given
that one. It's actually called Lemon Beach Sunshine. So you were correct in intuiting that we would have a ridiculous name for it.
Lemon Beach Sunshine Yellow from the resort. And you've given everyone these sort of stickers. Now, the concept is, kids, you take this thing home and you take the stickers off and you put it on the wall wherever you like to. And you can kind of customize this record. Now, I don't know if it's too much of a peek into my own psychology of who I am, but the way that I want to keep this is I don't want to undo any of the stickers. I just want to enjoy the stickers on the sheet. And I'm such a wet blanket that I don't want to put the stickers on the actual record. But what feedback have you gotten about this this very fun, very cool physical design?
People seem to be inordinately excited about being allowed to put stickers on things without fear of rebuke.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there's been a lot of trepidation when people show us their sticker work for fear that we'll tell them they did it wrong. There's no right, there's no wrong. See, even you not having applied stickers are worried. Yeah,
look at that. I've got one on my phone. I mean,
Chris is demonstrating that
just no wrong way.
Now that's the wrong way to do it.
That's
I
true.
do admit that I colored outside the lines there for sure.
You could take these stickers and put them on the bathroom wall in your own apartment or home. There are really no rules here, but it's really a fun way to enjoy the physical product. And how do you guys feel about vinyl and digital? And obviously, so much of your career, I'm sure, is just digital and streaming and stuff like that. But where does the vinyl sort of fit in for you guys with the group? But also, personally, do you guys are you vinyl people or?
I do. I buy a lot of vinyl, but I find that I purchase it mainly because I like the physical object rather than that I adore a warm analog sound. I play my vinyl over the worst possible needle into terrible old computer speakers.
Right.
So I like the artifact more than I like the product. In fact, I often like to hold my vinyl and listen on my phone.
Spotify.
Yeah.
That's cool. And listen, and I think it's great to admit that, I think there's a real cliche, and I love records, I love vinyl, but I love music. Number one, we all love music first, and however it gets to us, I guess, is the best way. But sometimes the cliche is, I love the analog warmth and all that. And it's true. And if you've got the rig to support it, it works. But a lot of people don't, and it's very expensive to go down that road. And some people aren't comfortable with getting their needle, their turntable calibrated correctly and stuff like that. What about you, Chris? Do you have a feeling about records one way or the other?
I think I'm on a similar page to Keith. They're really more of a keepsake for me than a practical way to listen to music. I certainly never object when somebody wants to throw vinyl on at a get-together or a party, but it's not going to happen at my house. I'll be honest. I'm gonna DJ from Spotify.
I do think the only time I really play my vinyl is when I have a small gathering at my place, like 6 to 10 people, and we're kind of all just sitting around in the living room. Right. It's fun to have that 20-minute period of hanging out, chatting, and then once conversation has run dry, being able to extricate myself and busy myself putting a different Van Halen record on from the one that's already playing.
My dishwasher broke last month, and there was like a 2-week period when we were waiting for it to get repaired, and we did use our vinyl as plates a lot during that period.
Oh, really? Well, you've got the hole in the middle, so I hope you didn't eat a lot of soup that week.
It doesn't have the sides either for soup. So no, it's, sandwiches. You can even eat salad on there fine. I mean, sure, a little dressing. But
a little dressing comes through, but that's that. You guys are rock and roll guys, so it's okay. A little spilled salad dressing is nothing new.
Yeah, these aren't. I should have clarified. These aren't classical records. These are rock and roll. These are rock and roll records.
But if you wanted to have a fancy dinner, you would use classical vinyl.
Yeah, probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like a very intimate date with someone. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about your songwriting, which is very hooky and in the greatest possible. Barbed with hooks. But it's hard for me, and I'm a musician myself, and just listening to it, it's hard for me to almost imagine how you took those sketches of those songs and built them into the wonderful big productions that you guys have on the album. Can you just talk a little bit about that transition between really crafting the tune and then elevating it to something different on this record? Because I think it's when you hear these songs, it's like, wow, where did you start? It's curious to think about where you started with these tunes.
We have sort of graduated in songwriting to kind of delivering our first demos as pretty realized versions of the songs. We almost never start the recording process with a demo that's, a vocal and guitar, and then building as we record. Kind of the demos tend to be the greater bulk of the song. Chris is very good at them sort of exploding that. I think when our songs change, it's not that they've necessarily changed from being very stripped down to being fully produced. It's usually that they will be fully produced and then we'll upend them and sort of utterly rearrange them. I think that's what we've that's our big production process now, is to screw up this well-produced thing we have.
So it's almost as though the production is a part of the composing in a way.
It absolutely is. I think for both of us.
Yeah.
Would you say, Chris?
Oh, sure.
Chris, don't get all huffy about it.
Which sense do you mean?
I'm just kidding. The bicycle.
He means warm and fuzzy. Bike.
Yeah.
reminiscence.
Well, why not? That's how I feel about it.
Right. Well, how do you guys kind of handle the composing duties? Are you both very connected to that, or one of you sort of more melodic than the other?
Yeah, we're both always writing, so we sort of we tend to not work on final product, production until we think we have more than enough songs for an album. Then we kind of just like dump all of our songs together and listen to them for a month,
right?
And whittle it down from there. So yeah, we're always both doing a lot of composing separately, and then kind of collaborating once we think we have a leg to stand on, catalog wise.
Right. Now, you guys have been working together for really more than 20 years at this point. And can you describe a little bit your relationship and how maybe it's changed over time, maybe personally or artistically? How's it been just maintaining this relationship for 2 decades? No words.
I'm over it.
Yeah, it's on ice.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely recognize that many bands very successfully evolved from being a bunch of friends who hang out together to being a bunch of, pretty genial coworkers who see each other at work doing a job they like. And that is definitely not our relationship yet. I still definitely don't really treat the band like our job, despite having had it as our only job for 20 years.
Yeah.
We definitely are the sort of band that like will be on tour for a month and then we get home and 2 days later we're hanging out in New York. So that's nice.
Yeah.
It is nice. And have you've certainly, Keith, you kind of glitched up there. Oh, there you are. You've, over the past 20 years, of course, you've probably seen a lot of bands come and go and seen different, turmoil within. Has anybody ever come to you and said, like, how do you guys do this? Like, I can't even, you guys are kind of the poster childs for getting along.
Yeah. We do a lot of behind the scenes therapy for other bands. It wouldn't be polite to name names, but some pretty big acts do depend on us to even be able to stand on a stage together. And in situations like that, I guess I could just go ahead and, I know Chili Peppers have said it's okay if we talk about our work with them. Those guys can't really speak to each other. They can play together now, right, after individual coaching from us before the show. But the friendship thing has sailed for them. And then you have other bands that,
Is this true? Is he pulling my leg, Keith? What is he talking about?
We don't actually know the Chili Peppers, but I did just hear an interview with
you went pretty deep with that, Chris.
Come on.
Whoa, wait a minute.
I laid a lot of groundwork.
Read that anywhere. This is cool.
I did just hear an interview with Flea. It was between Flea and Rick Rubin, and Flea pretty much said that he will never talk to Chad Smith, the drummer, outside of work, and he doesn't not like him, but they just have zero relationship other than playing some deep funk. But but he said he's been to Chad Smith's house once.
Wow. Even in the early days, he never. Wow.
It's insane.
Yeah, well, I guess, when you start to think about it, it makes some kind of sense. I mean, it's better to do that than to be at war with each other, or really
Absolutely.
At each other's throats. So maybe it just works. But it is, a band is a strange relationship. It's a long, in the case of you guys, it's a long-term relationship, and it is interesting how you've managed to maintain it after all these years. Do you guys have some songs on the new album that you are particularly fond of? Some of your favorites? Maybe you both have a pick or two? And why?
I mean, oh boy.
Trying to remember what's on this thing.
I think my favorite is Sentimental Education. I think because I think it's very weird, but when I listen to it objectively, it feels just like a normal good pop song. But I think for We Are Scientists, it seems like a pretty gonzo melange of sounds. It's a lot of stuff that we shouldn't ever do, but somehow it sounds like a Weird Scientist song.
And Chris was looking at the track list while you were answering. So I know
I was just buying him time.
We were just we're literally mastering a new record on Saturday, so I've been listening to, like, trying to determine track list of our new record, just constantly for the last couple of days, and looking at Huffy it's kind of exciting. Like I've had these songs out of mind for the last couple of weeks, and there are some big hits on here. I mean,
I forgot I Cut My Own Hair is on this.
Yeah, Cut My Own Hair is a great. I guess on this record I tend to really gravitate toward the more straightforward and simple songs. I Cut My Own Hair. They're just like, I like how stripped down they are, and that's kind of something we haven't done a ton of in recent records, and don't do much of on our forthcoming record. So it's it's cool. God, it's cool we can still pull that off. Who knew we'd be able to?
You still got it after all these years. Well, I think my favorites are Sentimental Education. I'd go with that too. And Pandemonium. I really love Pandemonium. Cool too.
Yeah. Pandemonium has its supporters.
Yeah.
There's a phalanx of
there's
big Pandemonium lovers.
I think better way to put it, there's a support group for
the Pandemonium support group. Absolutely.
Yeah, there is help. It's out there. We can connect you with.
It's funny. Another one, Just Education, is one that I never really think about, but it's our drummer's favorite song on the record. Keith, our drummer. It's one of our manager's favorite songs on the record. There's something for everybody on this thing.
There is. And as I mentioned, good tile work too. Good tile work.
Great grout. Big grout.
Great grout work. You two are really the band, and you have your drummer, of course. But talk about a little the sound again. Back to your production is very full. It's very big. How do you layer yourselves? How do you? It sounds like more than 2-3 guys together in a room. What are some of the ways, pros and cons to that, difficulties that you face, maybe on stage or how you kind of pull that off live?
Yeah, live is pretty tricky. Although, we have enough of a catalog now that I think we don't really worry about being able to play every song on every album live. It is difficult when a song Sentimental Education is a pretty involved one. A lot of bongos and cowbells and auxiliary percussion on that thing that just don't happen live. But I think we also don't necessarily feel like every live performance needs to sound like just a louder version of the record.
Right.
So I think we have fun sort of turning the more ornate songs on the record into kind of gonzo punk songs live. Cool. That's part of the fun of arrangement from record to stage.
Right. It's a little bit different. It doesn't have to completely replicate what you've put on the record.
Right.
Yeah. We always tell people after shows, obviously we get a ton of complaints because the songs don't sound the same as the record. And we always tell people, go home and listen to the record,
Do you really get complaints? I can't tell.
We field complaints.
Do. I'm sure.
For hours after every show. No, we don't get that many. We don't get that many complaints, considering we really did kind of long ago throw out any particular intention of replicating things the way they are on the records. I think it's fun for people to hear different versions, almost the way an acoustic version of a favorite pop song can be super exciting for people.
Right.
Our sort of stripped down, looser versions really seem to touch our fans.
The next time if I go to see you guys soon, I'm going to tweet. It was a good show, but it didn't sound like the record.
Yeah. Well, we'll be waiting.
That'll sting. That'll sting.
We'll come up with a good retort by then.
A good retweet. A good comment to that. Yeah. Sad emoji.
For now, we're defenseless.
Yeah. That's right. You know, we're having a couple of laughs here today, and humor is a big part of, you know, your sort of brand aesthetic. You know, this is in your Wikipedia, and, you know, you like comedy. You're funny guys. How do you find that sort of relationship lives with music? You know, sometimes music can be very serious. You know, we could all be wearing black and shadows and making a really serious record. You know, do you guys feel like you need to make the serious album? No chuckles, no guffaws, just serious stuff here.
Yeah. There are many bands that ruin their actual music for me simply by the expressions that they hold in almost all of their press photos.
Right.
There's nothing I hate more than a press photo with a bunch of scowling creeps. Like, if you don't like me, I'm not buying your record. Don't make that face at me.
Yeah.
Right. I support my friends.
It's also just really funny to imagine a band making those mean faces to a photographer they hired to photograph them. It's like, if you're the photographer, aren't you just like, hey, you guys want me here, right? Just,
right.
Do you not want to do this?
Should I come back tomorrow?
I mean, I can go.
You guys in the middle of something?
Yes.
Right. Why are you being so huffy in this photo shoot?
Oh, there you go.
Exactly.
There you go.
Sorry,
exactly.
I can't help it. You guys started it.
That's why you're the professional broadcaster.
That's right, or so they say. So in many ways, this was sort of your, you know. Do you think you'll look back on this album after your next 20 years together? Will you look back on this and say this really represents sort of our pandemic album? This was our pandemic experience. You know, do you think in retrospect it'll sort of be that for you?
Well, I mean, I think the thing I really like about it is that all of the songs were written immediately prior to the pandemic. So it doesn't feel at all, you know, dour or claustrophobic.
Right.
And you know, it sort of made you know, lemonade out of the lemons of the pandemic for us, because, you know, we could do nothing but work on this record. So this record kept us very busy, and you know, I think we sort of got to indulge a little more because of the external situation. So yeah, it doesn't really feel like the pandemic record for us. Instead, the pandemic feels like the Huffy pandemic to me.
I mean, I will say that we will never again have time to draw this many stickers for an album release.
That's true.
Right. No wonder you had such a great creative idea. Everybody was bored, going stir crazy, and you guys were doing all these doodles.
Let's doodle.
Drafting these doodles.
Draft after draft of the
oh boy,
whatever it was. Yeah.
I can't believe how many times I had to redraw that spider.
So you mentioned you're mastering a new album, and what can people expect? What's on the horizon for you fellas?
It's a very different record. It's much more synthesizer driven, a lot more weird, I would say. Yeah, it is. I'm gonna double down on that. It is weirder.
Okay.
I mean, it's dancier, whereas Huffy is more rock forward.
Yeah. But it's also just got it's got a lot more weird production choices, I think, that was the reason for doing them. We were like, that's weird. I guess let's stick with that, you know?
Right.
It's also sort of more nocturnal, where Huffy is maybe, you know, Day at the Beach. This is a little more nocturnal. It's darker. It's a darker record.
It ain't no lemon drop sunshine.
Lemon Beach sunshine, please.
I'm sorry. Lemon Beach sunshine Day at the Beach. It's going to be some different color there with different. Not Huffy 2. It's not going to be called Huffy 2.
It's not Huffy 2.
Wouldn't dream of calling it Huffy 2.
Yeah. It is a companion record to it, but it's sort of like in those buddy cop movies when one is sort of the jokester and the other is the dour, not dour, but, you know, just more like getting down to business and cracking some criminal skulls.
Right.
That's this new record.
So the title will be 48 Hours.
Essentially, yeah. This is the Nolte.
Yeah, this is the Nolte.
Okay.
Oh, man, kind of is.
Very good. Well, guys, what else is, like I said, you've got the album coming out, but what else is in the recent future? I guess we're thinking about more concerts, and what are your hopes and dreams for the next 6 to 12 months?
Got a lot of touring on the horizon. We've got a U.S. Midwest tour in June. We're in May now.
Coming up, right?
We've got some European festivals in the summer.
True.
Anything else? I don't know. I don't know what else we have. Bunch of touring. It'll be on our socials.
Touring. I want to start a horoscope on the website. Start helping people just live a little more intelligently using the wisdom that the stars provide.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, I can't with Chris anymore. I don't know.
That is real. That is a real intention. But yes, it will. But yes, it will not have the wisdom of the stars in it. You're right about that.
Your intention is sincere, even if your sincerity is not.
Well, it's worked. It's worked for the Red Hot Chili Peppers with you guys for many years, so I don't know why it couldn't work for the average Joe on the street.
That's right. The proof is in the fact that those gentlemen just released their, 11th album.
Yeah, right.
Keep on trucking.
Well, Chris, Keith, I thank you very much for your time today, and this really is a very enjoyable record. And I think the advice I would give to listeners of this album is listen to it over and over and over again. It is very addictive, and I think you really start to understand the layers of this thing after repeated listens. And I really enjoyed exploring this album, and I really enjoyed talking with you guys today. So thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was a great conversation.
You got it. And again, get ready for those nasty tweets.
Come on.
Yeah. And
we'll be ready.
And I look forward to your humorous responses back.
Let's do it.
We'll draft some ideas.